here with head coach John Cooper for our weekly press conference. Coach, we hit the final stretch of the final 2 weeks. What are you telling your team, especially when it comes to playoff positioning and all that stuff?
Well, I mean, we really don't talk about it. I think, one of the important things for any team is that, right now you're really concentrating on the next game. That's a couple of weeks down the line, trying to get better every game and certainly trying to keep your team rested, but yet and still mentally sharp. You look at our group, we're down quite a few people when you look at the 3 guys that are out. So that obviously plays a factor in keeping our group rested and trying to get some things accomplished in practice. And so it's certainly altered our substitutions here a little bit, and that's not been a bad thing. I think it's been good certainly for Milos, whose minutes have certainly ticked up, and he's been able to be pretty consistent. And so, we're trying to get ready for the next one and get locked in and be rested and be sharp.
Speaking of the next one, odd quirk of the schedule that here with 2 weeks left, you're finally getting your first chance to play Ohio this season. Obviously, Ohio had a tough loss when Antonio Campbell went down, but They seem to have adjusted pretty well. So what can we expect from the Bobcats?
Well, I think, anytime you lose a kid like Antonio Campbell, they're not the same team. He's a player of the year and potential back-to-back would have been. Unfortunately for him, he had an unlucky incident happen to him. But I think one of the things that's happened is Jason Carter's really stepped up for them as a freshman and has come in and played very well, so that's helped him. And then, of course, Jerron Simmons, who is candidate for being player of the year in the league, also has continued to play extremely well. I think he started off a little bit slow, but as you watch him here in conference play, he's been really good with Kaminsky and then, of course, Dardis. So, you've got 3 guys there that are capable on any given night of getting 20-plus points. Gavin Block's been really good for them. Their bench is not as deep, obviously, with Antonio not being in. They play 8 guys. That's typically what they're going to play. But they stress you because of their ability to shoot the ball. They're shooting 41% as a team from 3, and they shoot a lot of them. So it's not a misnomer. By any stretch of the imagination. When you look at their numbers, they're a team, they're going to put it up. They're going to be solid and simple in what they do. And then, of course, with Jerron at the point guard position, he makes all the right decisions. He doesn't make bad decisions. And so it allows them to be really at peak performance from an execution standpoint.
All right. And then finally, Saturday, this is the final home game against Bowling Green. Obviously, you haven't really quite looked ahead just yet, but obviously had a tough loss up there. What can we expect maybe in the rematch against the Falcons?
Well, it's been a couple weeks now. I want to say, almost 3 weeks since we played Bowling Green. I didn't think we played particularly well from the standpoint we turned the ball over too much, so it's hard to play well when you have that many turnovers. But BG's been a solid team. They've got some young guys that have really given them some good production this year. They're not going to try to trick you with what they do, but you look at that game for us, I thought we turned it over way too many times, but, we had some points when if we just make this play or that play, then we're right back in the game. But the turnovers killed us. But, we've got to be able to come back, and we play them here at home and got to try to get a home win. And, of course, BG, if you look at the standings, BG is right around where we are. So, as these final four games go, we'd certainly like to get on a run and play well down the stretch. Obviously, if you look at our side, I think Buffalo's playing the best basketball right now. They're the hottest team, I should say. Of course, Akron has played well throughout the entirety of the season. Kent State went and beat them, played very well to go beat them, of course, which is a rivalry game. And then if you look at the other side, that side's interesting. I couldn't tell you what's going to go on, A lot of those teams are all jumbled together, so I don't know who's going to win that side. I don't know if they know how that's going to play out, and quite frankly, probably the team that gets the hottest on the other side is going to be the team that wins that wins it. And so here down the stretch, but we still have a lot to play for. I think our young kids have really continued to be solid. They've played much better. And continuing to play better and better. And now that Milos is getting solid, sustainable minutes, I like his confidence level. Just got to get, turnovers, his turnovers down a bit. And then, we've got to have our juniors. They've got to play well for us down the stretch. Logan obviously struggled the last game as well as Haruna. We've got to have those two guys. They've got to be solid and play well for us. And then Jake struggled. Jake Wright struggled. So we've got to have him back and reappearing back in the stat sheet for us. And then I think we'll be fine.
One last question. Saturday is Senior Day.
Mm-hmm.
You have one senior and senior walk-on, Jake Bischoff. What has he meant for the program since transferring in?
Oh, he's been terrific. When you talk about accountability, you talk about what do you want coming from out of your locker room. When you talk about someone that you know is going to do the right things and stand up the right way. When you talk about team sports, you're talking about someone with character and integrity. He's been absolutely phenomenal for us. He's mature. He gets it. He understands what's going on, and in many ways he's like a coach. He'll do a good job someday if that's what he decides to do. I think it's an area he's looking at, but I think he'll be terrific because he has a very good feel for the game. He's selfless. He's a guy in the meetings. He always knows the answers, has a feel for what's going on, can think like a coach but also can think like a player. So we've been very blessed and fortunate to have him here in our program. So he'll be sorely missed because he's made of all the right things.
Thank you, Coach, and good luck this week.
Yep.